Well, some of these samples you've probably seen already. One's from the assignment and others I've shown in announcements or the gallery of student examples. This one here where you see a progression on a single drawing may be of help to you. One thought is that you might be able to get a better handle on your pose by drawing a simplified skeleton first, the lightest of touches. This wouldn't be something you'd erase later. It would just be so light that it wouldn't really play a role in the drawing that you make for this assignment. I like to use 3 axes to orient the torso. I'll use an axis for the shoulders, one for the hips, and also one for the spine. And then, given the canon of proportions that you'll hear me talk about with regard to Lisa's drawing, I would work out the lengths for the arms and the legs. Hi, Lisa. Good work getting the entire figure on the page. I know this sample in this assignment doesn't show the figure from head to toe, but I think that that's really important. It goes back to something that Dorena was talking about, where it's very hard to judge proportions if you can't see the entire subject. So even if, as in Denise's case, the feet ran off the page, she might add a second page in order to help observe the entire height of the model. Um, okay, so Lisa, I wanted to talk about a canon of proportions, and this is one that was assembled by the author of a much loved book, one that we're not using in this class. It's called The Natural Way to Draw. And Nicolaides asserts, as do other authors talking about the figure, that the anatomical midpoint for an adult is going to be the crotch. So from head to crotch and from crotch to heel, those two lengths will be the same. Further, we could break the torso into 2 parts, from shoulder to waist and from waist to crotch, and each of those would be about the same. The head and neck combined are about the height of half the torso. The upper arm is half a torso with the elbow landing at the waist, and the lower arm minus the hand is half a torso in length. Now, let's think about the legs. With the legs, I want to measure from the hip at the outside rather than from the crotch. So let's say that the knee is the midpoint of the legs. Knee is about halfway down the leg, and from hip to knee, the length is about 1.5 times half the torso. Okay, so thinking about all of that, I would say it might be that your torso is a little long, that the crotch is a little low, and it might be that your knee is a little low also. Denise, I noticed that you're using a frontal pose and one that's very symmetrical, and I want to say to both you and Lisa that a standing pose is a great way to start, and I know that that's a little harder for the model. Typically, I like to give the model a break every 15 or 20 minutes, and as was suggested in the assignment, you can mark the model's feet, the position of the feet, with a little bit of masking tape on the floor there. I like the marks you're making here. They seem to have authority. The strength of the marks matches the athletic nature of your subject. I want to encourage both you and Lisa to work not only on delineating the form of the body, but with adding value. And instead of careful shading, erasing, what have you, I want you to use the side of your compressed charcoal or your content crayon and swipe in value as you see in the assignment example and some of the other examples I'm showing you here. In the assignment, it says hold your drawing material between 3 fingers and your thumb, or something like that. And I take that to mean use the drawing medium on its side. Now it's very important that you first use only half a stick or maybe a third. A whole stick would be too long. And second, scribble on scrap paper to break in the side of the stick of your drawing media. You know, usually straight from the factory, there's a sort of skin or too smooth a surface on the outside of the charcoal or the Conte, and you want to wear that down so that it marks the page readily. In the case of both of these drawings, it appears that you're working on the 18 by 24 newsprint paper in a vertical orientation, which is just what we want.